So this is Chris Chopik at the Community Power Conference with Evolution Green, talking to Deb Doncaster, and Deb works with the Community Power Fund. Deb, can you tell us about the important work you're doing at CP Fund?
Sure, Chris. Well, CP Fund started up in 2007, and our primary role has been to provide grant money for communities wanting to develop and own renewable energy projects. So we've been giving out grants, probably well over about 100 at this point, to 100 different projects and communities representing biogas, wind, solar, and hydro across the province of Ontario.
And can you tell me a little bit about why it's so sensible for you to be connecting money and renewables in Ontario?
Well, it's because it's a new phenomena to bring in particularly wind power, solar power, and biogas in Ontario. We've had hydro and a long history of hydro for years. It's very difficult to raise the financing required for projects, often because you've got new technologies or new context. So in Ontario, we have domestic content requirements in order to increase the numbers of jobs associated with the development of the renewable energy sector, which is a great goal. We're now seeing that there's over 5,000 jobs as of today that have been produced as a result of the Green Energy Act. But when you have new technologies or new people building very familiar technologies, the financing becomes a little bit more challenging. So it's very important that community groups who want to do projects, who are able to also finance these projects, understand what the different financial models are available to them in order to finance their projects.
So you've got community groups, organizations coming to you with the possibility of a project but need for financing, and you're helping build a bridge to the financing models.
That's right. I mean, other than other grant programs like the Ontario Trillium Foundation, or if you're fortunate to live in the City of Toronto, sometimes you can go to Trillium or the Toronto Atmospheric Fund for grants. But really, we're talking about building hundreds, if not thousands, of renewable energy projects right across the province. So we needed a fund for any community group from up north to down in Chatham-Kent to be able to come and say, we think we have an economically viable proposition to develop a wind farm or a biogas digester, but they need that early stage financing to get a site, to do their resource assessment, and just to determine the overall feasibility of their project.
Why is CP Fund work so important in terms of our economic competitiveness as a society?
Well, the Green Energy Act, which is the legislation that came in 2009 to bring the rapid deployment of renewable energy to Ontario, is the first type of legislation of its kind in North America. And Germany, who is the world leader in installed capacity of renewable energy, has what they call the EEG, the Renewable Energy Sources Act. And our Green Energy Act in Ontario basically replicates that model. Germany has over about 350,000 people employed in the renewable energy industry. So we're hoping that our Ontario Green Energy Act will result in the same amount of renewables in the system and the same number of jobs available to Ontario. And as a leader in North America, we hope to, and the first out of the gate, we feel pretty confident that if we get behind this act and build these projects, we will be able to secure those jobs for Ontario and to have that competitive advantage.
And what's the size of the marketplace? I mean, we're talking competitive advantage, but haven't Japan and Germany already beat us to this mark?
No, I think the wise thing that the Ontario government did was to put the domestic content rules in place, which means that 50 to 60% of the content in a windmill or a solar panel or a hydro development has to be made or manufactured and built in Ontario. So that will ensure that there's a translation of know-how and technological innovation emanating from in Ontario.
That's terrific. Deb, how do we find out about you and get engaged with your organization if we've got a great project that we need some help with?
Well, we have a website, and it's the Community Energy Partnership Program. So if you just Google Community Energy, you will find our grant program. And anybody who is a resident of Ontario or a nonprofit charity, that type of organization, can come to the fund for up to $200,000 to get their project going. So I encourage everybody in Ontario who thinks that they have a resource and a natural resource and a community that's supportive of the goal of trying to build a new energy system in Ontario that will generate jobs. I encourage you to come to the fund.
Thanks very much, Deb. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome, Chris.
Cheers.
Okay.